You're on your own. From Suits LA Season 1, Episode 5 is the clearest illustration of the show's profound polarization among viewers. Comparing this spin-off to the original Suits is not merely a natural tendency. Unfortunately, this show is hard to relate to because it's hard to root for any of the new characters. Ted Black makes Suits LA honestly unlikable. It is not expected of Ted Black to be a Harvey Specter. However, because Ted is the focus of so much of Suits LA, he must leave a lasting impact. In Episode 5, Ted does make an impression on the viewer. But it's a bad one because of his manipulative tactics and more of his playground arguing with Elizabeth Smith. Instead of ending on a startling note, Amanda Stevens' announcement that Ted is on his own, which gives the show its title, is a moment deserving of acclaim. It begins at the very beginning of Episode 5, when a sleeping Ted has a sexual fantasy in which Amanda and his ex-fiancée Samantha Railsback are both involved. Presumably meant to be humorous, the scenario is simply awkward and juvenile, relying on the same old jokes about guys wanting to have sex with two women or wanting to sleep with two women. The authors seem to be implying that they only see Amanda and Samantha because of their connections to Ted. However, it doesn't end there. When Lester disappears soon after his trial begins, Suits LA escalates Ted's ongoing arguments with Smith, which have already grown tedious. In a pretentious delay strategy, Ted has him holed up in his own apartment while Amanda and Kevin have been searching for him. Although it makes sense that Amanda is unhappy, this is the reason Ted isn't Harvey and isn't a strong protagonist. Although Harvey did occasionally act conceited and self-centered, and he undoubtedly took advantage of circumstances, he always felt sincere in his actions. Ted's sincere conviction that everything revolves around his objectives or desires is the only authentic emotion that emanates from him. Samantha's previous criticism of him is supported by this episode, and a fleeting scene in which he calls her to apologize is insufficient. Suits LA Episode 5. Ted is surrounded by slender characters. The only cause of Suits Season 1, Episode 5's difficulties, the other characters in the program, especially those in the courtroom, are also not helping him. Tracker alum Sophia Pernis's portrayal of Smith continues to feel like a violent parody of a lawyer. She has a reporter in her pocket who is putting articles in the media that she can legally exploit, which is one of the two major disclosures in this episode. Although there were some dishonest attorneys in the original Suits, it never seemed like that was all there was to them. Anita Gibbs, too, was a whole individual. Suits LA breaks the plot for the purpose of drama at the conclusion of the episode. You're on your own reveals another significant twist. Kevin confronts Lester with a copy of one of his unproduced scripts after receiving help from Rick through Erica. It has been proved that Lester virtually verbatim copied this script into his statements to the police and the law firm. Lester is physically intimidated by an enraged Kevin, who forces him into a corner where he confesses, "I killed him." This is not just highly suspicious. One could argue that Lester was afraid and merely stated what Kevin wanted to hear, but it is also discouraging. Lester's declaration of guilt is now intended to startle viewers, whereas Suits LA wanted viewers to be taken aback by his claim of innocence. It appears from this back and forth that the authors are unsure on how they want to wrap up this plot.